Good morning, everybody. It is now 10:25 a.m. on Saturday, March 12th, 2021. In my last blog, I do apologize for the lack of charisma and interest I was expressing in the video. I was reading from a script, and I am no longer doing that for these video blogs because it requires too much construction and lack of spontaneity in my speech to just read a script. So I'm gonna play this by ear, and it's a new thing I'm doing. So I'm gonna try for approximately 8 or 9 minutes to talk about something that will be productive for both you and me to listen to. In the last blog 3, we talked about interviews specifically, and we went through a construction of a mock interview that is inspired by interviews I've had before. So we will continue that interview today and see if we can learn from my past experience as well as the construction I am making today. So the interview context. I was interviewing for a restaurant job, and I was interviewing with the hiring manager. And I was very shy when I first did it, but we're going to try to learn from that mistake and see if we can craft well-spoken responses in a restaurant job environment. So I'm not going to say who's the interviewer or who's myself in this conversation. I'm just going to try to help say it by tone. Again, I apologize for the roughness of this conversation. It's just I'm learning how to extemporaneously speak. So the interview begins. Good morning, sir. How are you doing today? I'm doing great. Weather's fine. It snowed yesterday, but luckily that's over, and I was able to drive here. Good. Well, grab a seat. Would you like some water, sir? No, thank you. I brought my own. Cool. Well, let's begin this interview. I'm looking over your resume, and I see that you don't have much variety of experience. Mainly, you've been working at your family's donut shop for 15 years. After that, you went to school, and then you did some restaurant work here and there at different places. Yeah, that's my experience so far. I spent most of my time in childhood and a little bit in adulthood learning the ropes of my family business. And then after about 15 years, my parents who ran the place got to retirement age, and the staff we needed in the family wasn't available to make it so that I could continue running the shop myself. So I'm taking this time, probably 3 or 4 years, to learn as much as I can about different restaurant industries and just be valuable to whatever company I'm working for. Okay, that's interesting. Well, tell me about school. It says you got a degree in finance. Why aren't you working in that? That's kind of a complicated response I'm going to have to give to that. I went to school, and I never really fit in the sitting down office environment. I did well in school, and I took my classes, but I never really understood the culture of a corporate environment, how to speak, how to convey yourself, what's professional in that situation. And I almost feel like because of my upbringing in the family donut shop that I am more psychologically attuned to the fast pace of a restaurant environment. But I don't regret my education. I learned a lot about business, about people, and even had some time in Europe. That was a great time. Learned a lot of different things about the world. Okay. Well, that answers my question about that. So anyway, now to learn a little bit more about how you would work here if you were hired. Often we have conflicts in restaurant businesses because of the high stress and just the nature of the customers and the staff. How would you handle a difficult customer? By difficult, do you mean that they're angry at the speed of service or the quality of the food or a staff member, take your pick. Any one of those would be fine. Okay, well, I have dealt with this before. When I worked at a Vietnam restaurant, we had a regular customer who simply didn't like the non-friendly attitude of some of the staff, and they asked for me specifically, and I had to make sure that I was as friendly as possible, and that's kind of my nature. I try to be of service to people, and I try to be as friendly as possible. So whenever that person came in, I just sort of took over that person's table and told them, I got this one. No worries. You can grab the next 2 tables. I'll grab this one. And that was sort of a very fortunate resolution that the customer had a preference in terms of which server served them. Now, when it comes to the time pressure of food, I know that a lot of customers want their food promptly, and that's fair. They are paying for it, and that's the expectation in the industry. But sometimes because of the overwhelm in the kitchen or miscommunication between servers and cooks, or even if one person was sick and wasn't able to show up and we couldn't fill their position, there is a delay time, which is higher than expected. I've actually noticed this quite a few times in the restaurants I've been in as a server and not as a cook. And I'm trying to learn how to cook someday. It's one of my aspirations. But as a server now, the only thing I can do is, while not being a pest, keep aware of the situation in the kitchen and inform the customer of how much longer I expect the food to take. I kind of play this a little too far sometimes, and I take the customer's concerns a little bit over the cook's concerns, and I bug them a little bit. But I'm working on that. I'm learning that the cooks are always busy, they're always stressed, and they are doing the essential work. So I just sort of pop into the kitchen while maintaining the sanitary laws, of course, and just sort of see the status of people's food. And if I see a table where a server happens to be overwhelmed and they need help with food, like bringing out food or helping their customers with drinks, then if I have spare time, then I just sort of chip in. We're all in this together. Family, it's kind of almost like a family unit. It was quite literally a family unit when I worked in the donut shop. But I take that type of cultural expectation, that social cohesion, whenever I work anywhere. I try to make it so that I am of best use to all stakeholders involved in the restaurant. Wow. Did not expect that informative of a response. But good. So let's talk about pay. Well, and schedule, of course. Pay and schedule. How long would you expect to work here if you were hired? Well, I would like to work 30 to 40 hours a week. I know there's a 40-hour limit to the, I'm not sure what it's called, but after 40 hours you have to pay overtime. And that's kind of a very hefty cost to the low margins of restaurants. So I'm happy to be adjustable with my schedule. If there's a week where I can't get too many hours because it's slow, or there's a week where you need more hours, where I would need to take on more hours because it's a little busy, I'm fine with that. And I'm fine with subbing in for other positions. Like, I have cleaned toilets before. I know it's a messy job, but it has to be done. And I don't view myself as better than, a janitor. I think we all, as I've repeated it several times, we're all in this together. So I'm always ready to do the dirty work. Now, there is one small gap in my ability to work. What's that, sir? I don't have much experience outside of my family shop. So I know donut places very well, but not this particular restaurant. So I would need time to understand. I'm a bit of a slow learner, to be honest. And I would need time to understand the cashier and how to do the checks and how to input orders and how to basically help as much as I can the restaurant run as well as possible. Oh, that's fine. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to raise that concern that that's actually a severe deficit of mine. That I am, not severe, but it is the major blind spot of mine, where it takes me a while to master a thing. But once I master it, I can train other people really well. Okay, well, we got your number, we got your email. We'll try to, we're interviewing other people this week, so we'll try to text you by the end of the week to let you know if we have an offer to extend to you. Well, I appreciate it, sir. You have a good day. You too, sir. Thank you. And that's some math.